It dropped the stream. That's why I was messing with stuff. Okay, I think we're back.
Oh. So we're,
Sorry.
even with a fancier computer, we're still having problems. Okay. They say the most satisfying answer is an answer to a computer problem. So anyway, the water level, we used to use it in metal stud and drywall to set acoustical ceiling benchmarks. So you would set a level benchmarks throughout all the inside and outside corners, and then you measure so many inches up to where the ceiling grid is going to be, or where the soffit is going to be. You know, a soffit to put lights in or whatever, where the cabinets can go up against, and that would be in a commercial setup. You know, you can also do that in housing also, but the commercial setups where we use the water levels more. But I have used water levels to set grade. If I say I want to be, you know, at a certain height here, but I want to go gradually, you know, 20 feet away, I want to be a foot down. So that is 6 inches per 10 feet. And, so, you know, so you start bringing it down. So you literally can extend a back and forth across, well, in this case, 100 feet with a 50-foot water level. You can extend from one side of that slope to the other and say, okay, we got to go down to here. We got to bring in some fill here so we can be gradual all the way down. So a water level can be used for a lot of different things, and quite often we found that lasers had to be set up, and they had to be sent to the factory to be recalibrated, so on, because somebody dropped it, or just an electronic thing failed. And if you got too much sun, you can't see it. You can have a card, you know, a green or a red card to get that green or red laser showing and still have a hard time seeing that laser. So water level has its place. I'm not saying you should replace lasers with water levels, but on the same account, if you know you don't have electricity, you can still get things level, because now you know how with a water level. All right, so that's in response to that one guy's email and the other guy's comment. And I wish them all the best. There was a lady who sent me, she called me up, which I encourage. At this point is certainly not a problem. I get 40 phone calls a day, not from YouTube, but from sales calls that are not legitimate. And it seems like if I talk to them very long, they take my number and call other people with my business number. So I've got to where I just don't talk to them very long. I explain to them why. But I get a lot of phone calls, and I have no problem answering.
Building your
phone
online
calls.
business?
I just don't wish to waste my time.
Go to Wix.com and set up your store on a single integrated platform.
Selling me something that I don't want. Number. So I've got to where I just don't talk to them. What I'm saying is, if you guys want to call and talk to me like this lady did, about, she had a rounded roof home. She had already bought material to make it a peaked home or straight roof instead of bending it all the way over. And she wanted to know if I thought that she could use the 9-foot pieces, or I think it was 8-foot pieces maybe. And I thought that she could. And she showed me pictures of the progress and the finished product, and I was very, very proud of her. And I was very happy to be attached to, you know, giving her encouragement. It just made me feel great to be involved. So don't be shy about giving me a call. I don't mind sharing with you guys what I've learned and give you my ideas. Of course, doesn't mean just everything I say is correct, because the day that I stop making mistakes will be the day I'm dead. Okay, I just don't make a lot of mistakes. I made a few. Like, I've been married 3 times, and this one is stuck. The first one stuck pretty far, but this one I don't even argue with her. Definitely I make mistakes and I overcome them. So I appreciate you guys being patient with me, and some of you listening to me. It's a compliment that you would actually spend the time. So what I wanted to kind of mention in an offhanded way was that at some time in the future that you see that there's an opportunity for you to do repair work yourself, whether or not you could do that with the things you see online. And I think generally on YouTube there and a number of other places, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, Facebook, I suppose, X, Instagram, all those places have guys who will show you what they have learned and what they do. Now, you have to determine who you think is being basically honest and not just throwing nice looking stuff up that you not necessarily ever going to be able to accomplish. I would suggest that there's a lot of really big fancy houses that I wouldn't start out with on my own. I mean, I don't have a use for a big fancy house myself. I don't see the bad things happen in empty rooms, and I just don't see the need in maintaining that much. I don't think that anybody that cleans that house would see the need for.
They got to come with a maid.
Yeah, and now
I'd rather have chicken coop.
if you're wishing to keep somebody busy cleaning the house and maintaining it, maybe that was good for you. But myself, I would rather see more of the outside and spend what time I need to on the inside. So when it's blistering cold or blistering hot, I would like to be inside if I have a choice. But I don't need a big house. So I don't know that you need to know how to build a huge house. It's kind of neat that you can see it. But if you were thinking about being a repair person, the things that you would have to do is consider your ability to talk to other people and find out what it is they actually want. Sometimes they don't know exactly. They just got this problem they want to get. And then another thing is, if you don't think you can do it, I'm not saying that you have any question at all. I'm saying if you just don't think it's something you're capable of doing, don't do it. Just tell them, this is kind of over my head. I'm not ready for that yet. So if you start off as a repair person, your biggest skill is going to be on how to get along with somebody else, how to be pleasant with the people that you're dealing with. And how do you do that? Well, I think that mostly what you do is you have to understand the motive for your being there. So are you there for money? Because if you're there for money, it kind of comes across as cold, and maybe that's going to be what they want. I don't think so. So what you're really wanting to do is make their life a little bit better by accomplishing things that you can do. Now, how do you do them? Well, I had a couple of other videos of me live streaming that talks about the different hand tools that you would need around the house. Effectively, you add to those tools very little, actually more into the battery powered stuff, and a lot of drop cloths and things like that to protect the floors of nice places. And in case you make a mistake, I remember working for the Handyman Connection, and these guys came up to me, man, have you ever knocked over a bucket of paint? And I was like, no. Man, we were working on a $3-4 million house, and in the living room, and actually bumped over a half a gallon of paint onto this beautiful carpet, sculptured Berber carpet. And so what they did real quick is, don't do. They knew the name of the dog and blamed it on the dog. Knocked over the paint, ma'am. I'm so sorry. So the dog did it, and the dog's like, what did I do? I can't say nothing. So what I'm leading to is, you get in a hurry to make the money and you make mistakes. So there's that balance that I've talked about before, and I don't like to repeat myself, but then again, so if somebody's on a budget, you don't want to spend a fortune and then go blow their budget right out of the water. So you got to talk to them and find out what kind of budget, and then talk to them about what they think they would like to see done, and then start discussing the prices. So that good fences make good neighbors. Everybody needs to decide what it is that they can do or what they need. That is done by communication. So if you're not good at communicating, it's time to get better. Because there's nothing but good that comes from being a good communicator. Next is being willing to do things that you haven't done before. And you need to be truthful. Say, look, now I haven't done anything exactly like this, but I'm fairly sure that I can do this. If I can't, I will let you know. People appreciate that more than you know. If they're scared to death of you, then they're going to tell you right there. It's okay. I'll get somebody that I know that is totally confident. And they might be doing you a favor. Because if they're that worried, they're going to be standing over your shoulder making you that much more nervous. So here I am talking more about how to deal with people. And really, that's what we do. And actually, what we leave behind is how we've affected other people. So go into the repair business, if you're going to do it, as, you're there to make friends. Now, some people won't let you. But if you do the work you say you're going to do, they loosen up and you defrost that icy personality. So they're looking for truthfulness. Be honest. Hey, I don't know if I have enough money to buy all the materials, so I might need you to help me with that. Just say it. Don't be embarrassed. And when you're working at one place, the neighbors over there mowing the yard or spraying the grass or washing the car next door, introduce yourself and explain what you're doing and your services. Hand them whatever it is that you do to represent yourself. A lot of people use business cards. I don't. I use brochures because I have so many things that I do that you can't get it all, not even close to all of it, on a business card, front and back, it doesn't matter. So, those are things that you would do, and it takes some courage. But I'm telling you, the first time you start getting outside of what is your comfort zone, you start finding that you can do more and you have more ability to see how much you can do in the future. Possible future. Your future becomes much bigger. Your horizon is further and further away because there's so many things you can do that you haven't done yet. That is when you get outside of your comfort area. So if you're working at home, watch a video, try to do it. Okay? If you don't feel totally comfortable messing with electrical, don't. But on the same account, if you feel like you could try a little bit, I suggest you do. And then guess what? You might be able to work on somebody else's place. Now that sounds kind of nutty, don't it? It sounds like, oh, you're encouraging people that don't have any skill at all to go out and do something. Well, guess what? That's what people have done for hundreds of years. They passed it on to their family, passed it on to their friends. People watched other people work. One of the best blessings for me as a young guy, say in my early 20s, even 18, 19, is I worked on commercial jobs a lot. So as a kid, you just lived in a home and you saw these big commercial buildings. There's certain kind of aura of magic about, man, the skill level to put that all together. It's like, oh, but once you are on that job and you see how everything is put together, now you don't necessarily have the skill to know how to put glass on the side of that building, but you saw people do it. You saw the work that they did, and it started making sense. It registers in your head. That is expanding your skill level, your experience. And that's one of the things that your phone or your computer does for you. It shows you things that you might not have seen. The problem I have with computers and cell phones and such is those things don't actually do anything. The fact that you saw it doesn't mean that you did it. Okay? So what I suggest is that you be careful how much time you spend just looking at things and not doing things. The hardest part of success is getting started, physically started. Looking at your phone to find out how to do it might be a good idea to be some kind of prepared, but you still have to get out there in the cold, the heat, the rain, and go out there and fix the roof or fix the hinge on the door. You have to get started. You have to do it. And I can tell you this, there is no end to this day any job that I have got into situations where I've never done that before. I'm on a job now that I have not ever raised the roof on a portable building so that I can make a bedroom upstairs. Okay, I raised that roof 50 something inches. Never done 15 foot of roof straight up. Does it mean that I didn't think I could do it? I was fairly sure I could. Did it mean that I didn't have worries that something might come, a big wind might come along and blow the thing teeter-totter over? Believe me, I did. But it's the same kind of thing comes when releveling your home. You just got to be cautious. You're going to be slower because you haven't done it before. And be smart. Make good choices, just like the life journey that we're on. So you're going to go out there and you're going to say, I do painting, and be honest about what your experience is and have the things to do the painting. You don't have to start off with expensive covers to protect the floor. You can do it with plastic. But keep in mind, no matter what you put on there, if you step on it and then step off of it onto carpet with paint on the bottom of your feet, you could end up having to buy somebody's carpet. Be careful. Think things through. Don't get in a hurry. Because what I was going to say was, one of the things that I've always mentioned is you cannot get high quality, low cost, and high speed. You're not going to get all three of those. You have to make a choice of two. High quality and high speed is going to cost you a whole lot. It's not going to be low cost. Okay? So you're going to spend more money to get high quality. You see what I'm saying? You can get low cost and low speed, and you might be able to accomplish one, high quality. You might. I doubt it. Usually high quality requires high cost. So you're not going to get all three. There's going to be a balance. So one person, and that has to be explained when you're talking to the one person's idea of what quality is and what another person's is shouldn't be left to guess. Everybody should have a clear idea about what they want. And these days you got lots of pictures that you can say, well, you want it to look like this? And then one of the most puzzling things for me is people say, well, what I was thinking about doing was saving some money by not having any texture on the drywall. So they have no idea that having no texture means you have to finish it much, much more. And every little imperfection is going to show up because there's no texture to hide it. So you're trying to get perfectly smooth walls out of what? Drywall mud that's imperfect. Your knives are not flawless. Paint even leaves, it can leave a line. And then if it's got fluorescent lights, it can leave shadows. Certain kinds of LEDs leave shadows. It shows every imperfection on that wall. So be clear when you go talk to people about what you want. Now, if you're hiring somebody, it's the same thing. Say, look, I understand I'm not looking for imperfection, total perfection. What I'm looking for is a balance. I want to look pretty decent because I want to hang up some pictures, and I don't want somebody to see a big old goober of drywall mud sitting there, or paint that's not all the way painted solid, and you can see the different color underneath. I want a decent job, but I don't want to pay a fortune for it. Or I don't care what it costs. I want perfection. So if somebody says that to me, I'm telling them, so what you really mean is you want me to work on it until you get to you're happy, right? Yes. Since I don't know exactly what it takes for you to be happy, it's going to be at an hourly rate. Generally, that person will regulate themselves as to how much money they're going to spend, because they realize, wow, it's taking him a lot of time to get it perfect. I'm going to say, don't worry too much about it. Let's move on. So when you got somebody that's really fussy and threaten you right off the bat, I suggest you walk away. It's like, if you don't get it right, I've had to run off four other people, and I'm not going to blah, 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 blah. Best to step off. Or work by the hour and collect every day.
And charge a percentage of it.
You charge more
Yeah.
than normal. What your normal fee would have been, charge more. And I call that a frustration charge, because they're going to make you so irritated, because they're used to dealing with people hardcore, because they've probably been, their feelings have probably been hurt with another contractor, and they don't want to be mistreated. I understand that. At the same time, you are mistreating people who work underneath you now because you were mistreated before. You are hunting for something that's closer to perfection, and you're not being a very nice person about it, and you don't care. You want it done. I understand that. You're going to pay for it. If you want high quality, you're going to pay for it. So if you're the person that's delivering that high quality, you have to be willing to communicate to that person, let's get things going. You pay me every day. If you don't think I'm worth it, we'll end that relationship right there. That one day. And to communicate thoroughly. Wear it out with communication. Do you like this? Do you like that? Do you want this? Do you want that? So one of the things that happens is, like, and I work on a lot of, varying situations. Commercial buildings, restaurants, high-end houses, and mobile homes. I do a lot of mobile home work because nobody else wants to. The contractors when they call them up, oh no, ma'am, we don't work on mobile homes. And they're like, you don't know how? No, what they're actually saying is, I need to make more money than what you've got. You can't afford me. That's what they're saying in a very polite way. You're not going to spend $12,000 on a small bathroom if you're in a mobile home or in a low-end house. So those guys are looking for that $40,000, $50,000 kitchen remodel, and it could be more than that. You can spend $40,000 on just cabinets. So whenever you hear that, that's somebody saying, I can't really work that cheap to adjust to your budget. That's why you see in my videos, you'll see me driving older vehicles, because I can get off the treadmill a little bit more, because I don't have a fancy office. I don't have somebody sitting in the office in a building that I'm renting. I don't have a bunch of overhead for the business advertising, okay, because I live by my reputation. So I don't have all those overheads. That allows me to adjust to their budget. I don't have to pay for my brand new truck and my brand new covered trailer from every job, nor my brand new house. So if you're going to be able to work in varying situations, you're going to have to determine what that person's budget is. And that's communication. Lots of talking, lots of adjusting to their situation. Sometimes it's intuitive on your part. When you pull up to an elderly lady's place, you know she's on a budget because you can look around and see her house is little on the rundown side, and there's things that need to be fixed, but she doesn't want everything fixed. She just wants the things that she thinks she has to have. And once you get in there and take care of those things, she might want you to fix everything else up, maybe not. She's just trying to get through. So your job is to make her life comfortable, to make it just a little less scary, because she doesn't know that you're not there to take all her money. So the things that are in your head are going to be way more important to me to tell you as a repair person or somebody who's doing it for a living, or even part-time. But I don't care if you're a man or woman, you're going to have to be able to communicate properly and have the right frame of mind so that you can operate with people. At any point, if you feel, if your instincts tell you this is not a good one for me, tell the customer. Even if you drove away from the job and you start having second thoughts, go back, tell the customer, it's just too much for me. I don't feel comfortable with my skill level and your situation. Do that. Move on to simpler things. Make that your goal is to get better every day. Even if it means working on your own home and then working on somebody else's home. Hey, I've done this before. I think I can do this. Yeah. If you're looking for a time when you will have no jobs where you haven't done it, believe me, right on up to this last week, I'm doing things that I haven't done before. And I've been doing this in this area nearly 30 years. Believe me, I've got tons of stories. I've only been doing videos for maybe 4 and not really hardcore. I could do much more videos. But you know, guys, if I'd have been putting out videos 15 years ago, there would be 3,000 or 4,000 videos. Maybe more, she's saying. So the experiences that's in the last 12 years, the experiences that I have, I still run into stuff that I haven't done before. Like installing a grinder pump, septic pump in a septic tank for a mobile home park. I've not done that before. I worked on one for apartment complex. When I did that one, I had never done that before, but I felt like I could do it, and I did. Does it mean that I could fail? Yes. Yes, I could have failed. But again, you see this frame of mind that I want you to start thinking about. And if you understand, like with plumbing, the risk of flooding a house, you will take great care and take your time, go slow, get it done right every time. Okay? Don't be in a hurry. Because if you're not careful, you could be flooding a home. That'd be more than you could possibly handle, right? You can get insurance. I think it's $100 a month for $2 million or something like that. But is that really what you want, is to have insurance so you can fail? I mean, yes, I'm not saying you shouldn't have insurance. But what I'm saying is, it's better to be cautious and do a good job. Both for a relationship you have with other people and with your confidence. That way you can rest easier. And believe me, there'll be some times when you have sleepless nights worrying about whether or not some situation might get worse because you might not have done it, and you get back and everything's just fine. Believe me, there's a lot of stress that goes in with every job. And this kind of repair work is an ever-changing situation. And all the new tools that come out, they help, but they also bring in more challenges. I would give you for instance, the oscillating saw has certainly changed the way I do things, and all the different ways that I can use that tool has been pretty amazing. I used to use a bandsaw all the time to cut PVC pipe. Not as much anymore, because that oscillating saw with a decent blade, as long as I make a straight line for it to follow, I can cut that off with an oscillating saw, and that oscillating saw is that big, not very big. Whereas a bandsaw's this big, this wide, heavy, takes up a lot of space, and you're only using it whenever you're cutting PVC pipe or steel. But for years I carried a bandsaw, and I still have it. Bought the blades. And now they make battery-powered little ones. They're not going to cut no 3-inch pipe. And so that and PEX tools have changed things. How to use PEX, and understanding the shortcomings of gator bite and shark bite fittings. Like 1 in 10 fail. They leak. Okay? And you're like, oh my God, it wasn't leaking before, but guess what? It's leaking now. You do not want to leak over a $40,000 cabinet job, say, in a fancy house. How about this one? I'll give you one. I put quick release tape, easy release tape, the blue and the green, on wallpaper. And guess what I found out? That stuff will peel the wallpaper off. It'll peel the coating, the picture of that wallpaper. So you need to know that before you get started. What can I do here? So maybe you might just want to use some kind of piece of like a paint shield or something, and paint that way. But even then, that paint can go over the edge of that paint shield, and as you're sliding that paint shield around, it's rubbing paint on the other side onto the wallpaper. Believe me, all these things make you become better and better as time goes along at understanding what people's qualities are, adjusting to their personalities, adjusting to their budget. It makes you a better person. So, whenever you decide to do something for a friend or as a business, understand that these things are not meant to be, just follow these steps and you'll be successful as a repair person. Just follow my channel and you will be everything you always wanted to be. That's not how that's going to work. Your car's going to break down. The person's not. You're going to have all your money invested, and then that person runs out of money and they don't tell you, and they're broke and they can't pay you, or they just don't. They're not good people and they just don't pay you. Those things happen. That's when you don't follow your instincts. Every time that I ever had an instinct that this person's not a very good person, that's the one that didn't pay me. That's the one that did sneaky stuff. Try to revoke their credit card payment. That's the thing about credit cards too, by the way. In the name of protecting the customer, PayPal and credit cards have made it where nobody wants to accept those credit cards as much. You're like, oh, I never heard of such a thing. Well, let me give you a scenario. If somebody like me goes to work for somebody I don't know, if they want to pay me with a credit card, they can pay me with a credit card. It might be $2,000, $3,000, depending on what I'm doing. Might be $200. Could be $5,000 or $6,000. We've got an example of that. Months later, they can go back,
pull it out of your account,
and say, not happy with that product, even though it wasn't a product, it was a service, an hourly rate service. or an agreed upon price service that you did, all they got to do is go back to that credit card or PayPal and say, not happy with the product. And that company will take your money right out of your account. Now, how much confidence do you think I have in credit cards now? How many times do you think I will accept a credit card from somebody I don't know or I don't trust? How many times do you think I'm going to keep doing that before I say, you know what? You can write me a check. That way I can prosecute you if you don't pay it. If you try to stop payment on it, I'll prosecute you with a felony because you wrote me a check for $250. Whereas a credit card, they can just take it. I'll give you another one. Say you take credit cards as a payment plan and it's a monthly charge. Neat idea, as long as everybody's honorable. But so let's say a few months into it, or maybe 6 months into that 2-year plan of paying off the addition with credit card payments, they have a divorce or something, or they just can't pay the payments and they revoke their charges, they're paying the credit card company. The credit card company can come back and say, hey, we are revoking what we paid you. We're taking it back. Even so, they got all that work from you and all the supplies for a certain price. It doesn't matter. They quit paying us and we're taking the money from you. So now how much value is a credit card now? Now it's about relationships, isn't it? Remember what I told you about instinct? How you feel about somebody. If you think they're sneaky, step off. If you think they're dishonest, you think they're weak, step off. Move on. Even no matter how broke you are, you could be a lot broker. Whenever you're sitting there with your money spent because you had to buy all those materials, more than half of it quite often can be materials, and then somebody hits your account and takes all your money and not all your bill money too. You already paid your employees, now you're totally upside down. You can't pay your bills because that dishonest person didn't do what they said they would do. That weak individual decided, hey, I can hit them. That is what happens, and you need to be careful. Develop a good relationship. Start off small, build up. Even then, you'll run into some people that are perfectly willing to rip you off. They'll say all the right things just like a drug addict will. They'll say all the right things to keep you doing the work and then not pay you or take that money back. The only way you can take money back from somebody is through a credit card or literally going to court and suing them, which means even more effort on their part. With a credit card, it means very little effort. Very little, less than a couple of minutes describing why you're unhappy with the product. So yes, credit cards now have no real true value.
Debit cards do the same thing.
Debit cards are the same thing, if it goes through PayPal particularly. So I will tell you my experiences that I'd rather have a check these days than I would a credit card, because if somebody writes a bad check, they can be prosecuted. I've had a $3,000 plus check be bad, and I had to go through a lot of. They actually wrote the check on a corporation that nobody had a name tied to, and I had to go through a lot of grief, a lot of trouble to get my money. But as soon as I got it and got it to the county to prosecute, I got paid immediately. You couldn't do that with a credit card. Once it's gone from you, they take it back from you, you don't get it back. It's just gone, poof. And they're back spending it with somebody else and maybe not paying that person. So be careful when it comes to your instinct. If you feel like this person is being dishonest with you and is not an honest person, or a hothead, really arrogant and snotty to you right off the bat, step off. I know I'm going on. I can do even more. But I'm trying to help you understand that these are things that a repair person has to deal with. On top of all the other pressures, like his vehicles are not holding up, his money wasn't managed perfectly. Maybe he has problems at home also. That repair person, when you have them working for you, you need to know them a little bit. So how do you do that? Communication. All these things are important. So what you're doing is you're offering your labor to somebody who wants somebody to do that labor. That you have to feel comfortable with them and they have to feel comfortable with you. I had a bad experience does not excuse bad behavior. If they're in the habit of being in with bad behavior, let them work with somebody else who's just as tough and mean as they are. There's no point in getting into a angry, irritable person's world. It's just not worth it. Believe me, it's just not worth it. But I'm going to tell you, the opportunities out there are unlimited. If you just want to pressure wash people's driveways, one of the guys who used to work with me, that's what he's wanting to do. Doesn't matter that he's got an HVAC license. That's what he wants to do. He just wants to pressure wash things. So what are you going to do when it comes wintertime? I don't know. I'll figure out something. But that's what he wants to do. And you can specialize. You can get really good at just that one thing. So I suggest that we can talk more about different things. But I wanted to talk about the personality growth that it takes to be a repair person interacting with people, and what kind of personalities you might deal with and how to step off from that.
When it comes to HVAC repair and maintenance, how often do you get the, hold on, let me go to the other chat, Maria. Coils, the mobile homes cleaned. How often do you clean the coils?
It's the same for a house or a mobile home. The inside coils, once or probably twice a year. If it's a rental, you need to make sure,
Changing the filter.
yes, that they're changing the filter. So years ago, and I'm talking about with my first marriage and the first couple years of our marriage, we lived in a house in Orlando, and one of the things that person that owned the house said was, hey, one of the things you'll have to be aware of, we come in and change the filters because we've had problems with people not changing the air filters, and so we like to do it. We're like, oh, I can do it. No, we just want to do it.
That gives you a reason to go in and check your property.
It gives you a reason to go in there and see if they're treating your property properly. Anyway, so you go in there and so what they did, what I have learned is as a good idea, is they came in for the first couple of months, once a month, came in to change the filter. They called up in advance. So they got to look around the house while they were changing that $1 filter or $2 or $3 filter. And they got to see if there were cigarette burns in the carpet, or if there's a dog in there or a cat there wasn't before. If there's more people in the house than was before, and you can tell that by looking at it. And they got to know the person's, you can smell smoke where you're not supposed to be smoking. All those things they were able to tell. And they had a reason to be inside the home. If that person does not agree for you to do it, there's probably a reason. But once a month you should change the filter. If you don't, that coil will get clogged up, and then when it doesn't have air passing through it, it will freeze up.
How do you clean the interior near the coils without removing the coils? There is a lot of dust and dander built up around the vent. Would that be like the spray like we did?
Well, a lot of they make a foam spray that's in an aerosol can, and you spray that foam in, or they spray that spray in there, and it foams up and it pushes out that dirt, and then it drops down into the pan. The issue that you might run into, in addition to cleaning the coils, is that drain on that pan gets clogged up, and then it overflows the pan and drops down on the floor and rots out the floor. I use an acid that you mix with water to dilute it, and if you're not careful, it can actually burn the wiring up. So that is something that if you go to working on that same air conditioner and that moisture is down below and you lay in it, it will burn you. Now, what I suggest to everybody is that you can take that spray foam on the A coil on the inside and spray on it from the top down, and it will go in, it'll expand out, push out that dirt, and then you can lightly spray with like a pump up sprayer and spray it, and it'll run down into the drain. And once or twice a year you need to blow out that drain. That's what your air conditioner guys do, and they charge you a chunk of money to do it. To clean that coil once or twice a year on the inside, and then blow, like with an aerosol can of some kind or compressed air in a tank and a spray nozzle, clear out that drain. And when it comes to that drain, you might follow that drain at some point once every 2 or 3 years whenever somebody's been underneath there. Make sure that drain wasn't pulled loose and not running water underneath the house.
What is that spray called? Can I do it myself?
Yeah. Yes. It's a coil cleaner. And it comes in an air. I think Lowe's and Home Depot both sell it, and you can probably get it online.
Yeah, because we just had to do all of ours.
Now, when it comes to the outside condensing unit, understand that all the grass and dust and everything pulls up to it, and then the air is supposed to pull up through it and go up. The fan pushes up, so it's suctioning everything to it. So when you shut off your unit with the disconnect or the breaker, if you have to, shut off your unit, take a water hose and spray on the inside, pushing that stuff that's sucked up to it out. You don't have to use a coil cleaner on that. You can just spray high pressure water and spray that all out. And that way you can clean those coils, and that will cause, like a motor, if you have a motor that's overheating all the time, eventually that compressor or motor will fail. So again, twice a year you would clean that, say at the beginning of spring and toward the end of the year, clean it out. Particularly if it's a heat pump, because that just reverses the freon flow from one to the other. So your coil cleaner, you can get an aerosol can. Usually one can will last you for a year, 2 times. Not, it depends on how you use it. And the outside you clean with a water hose. You clean it up real clean, and that unit will last longer because it's not being overheated all the time. So check it out, and believe me, you can do it. If your filter on a mobile home is in the door and the dust is leaking around it, getting on the coils, you might consider putting a filter on both sides of the A coil, touching it. And you can get a washable filter. You don't have to use those paper ones. And you can get a washable. So whenever it pulls up to it from this side to get to the A coils on this side, you take that washable material out. So it pulled up to it on this side, you take it and you run water on this side, it washes it out. It's the same as what we did on the outside condensing unit. You're going to spray the outside condensing unit through to reverse the moisture and dirt and junk and grass that got inside of it. You're pushing it back out the other way. So that washable filter is the same way. It pulls in from this side, you're going to take it to the sink and wash it out on this side, or to a water hose, clean it all out, and you can use it again and again and again and again. So you don't have to have a paper filter. Now you can, if that door is leaking, and it quite often is, around that filter and still getting your coil dirty, you can put that washable material directly on the A coil. It's something I've done for many years. So I'm glad for the question. I'm happy to answer them. And you guys think of anything else, let her know in the comments, and we'll try to respond to it. That is probably all I can handle for today. I can talk way longer than that. I can talk for hours. I could talk in front of a bunch of people. That is not something that my wife wants to do, but I can certainly do it. So what I'm saying is, it's the end of the day, and I've got a headache, and I like you guys. I don't even know you, but I like you. I'd be happy to share with you. Just come up with whatever it is you would like me to talk about, and I'll go on and on. Like the great Chinese speaker, On Too Long, I will let you know what I have experienced and what I know.
Maria's saying she's never heard of a washable filter. Today's the first time. They're pretty cool.
They can be either foam or they can be like a fiberglass looking. You can get the material in rolls. Check it out. I think you'll find that will save you a hassle of going to go get the filters. Your time is worth money, by the way, to go get materials. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Come up with some more.